The Wrecking Crew is primed and ready for another matchup of volleyball elites in the Big Ten Conference. BTN Volleyball is presented by Tachikara. Number 4 Nebraska, number 1 Penn State. The best rivalry in the Big Ten returns to Rec Hall. Hello everyone, alongside former Ohio State All-American Audrey Flaw, I am Mike Wolf. And Audrey, it's always a pleasure to see these two teams play. It's some of the best volleyball in all of the country featured here in the Big Ten Conference. It's a treat when Penn State and Nebraska meet. Yeah, this matchup never disappoints, and we've come to know what to expect from the upperclassmen on both sides of the net. But what's going to be interesting tonight is the play of the setters. 2 new setters on both sides of the net, Brianna Weiskircher for Penn State and Kelly Hunter for Nebraska. Hunter, a sophomore who's taken over the setter role for this Husker team, leading the way so far. Starting lineups tonight brought to you by Tachikara. Fecki on the outside, another freshman with Feen. Ralston, Amber Ralston now in the middle, moving from the right side. Katie Ralston has moved from the left to the right side after some lineup changes for Nebraska this year. Hall as well in the middle with Hunter, and then the libero is Justine Wong-Arantes. John Cook in his 16th season for this Nebraska program, 2 national championships, 2-time AVCA National Coach of the Year. Take a look at the starters for the Penn State Nittany Lions. I mentioned Ali Franti, Megan Courtney on the left side. New setter, Brianna Weiskircher. Just the redshirt freshman, Haley Washington. 3-time Big Ten Player of the Week with Thielen in the middle. Whitney and Keaton Holcomb is the freshman libero for Penn State. Head coach for the Nittany Lions, Russ Rose, in his 37th season. Back when he began his tenure here in University Park, Pennsylvania, only 50 people would come to matches for Penn State volleyball. Now it's an average of over 3,000. So it's a bit different over the time for Penn State as what Russ Rose has built with this program. 7-time national champions and a whole different feel here in Rec Hall. 2 icons of the sport meeting in just the second weekend of Big Ten play. Both teams 2-0 in conference action so far. Nebraska beating Iowa twice, and Penn State beating Wisconsin and Minnesota to open up Big Ten play. Hunter to serve, and we're underway. Penn State not with a good first contact. It'll be Franti. The initial swing, and that'll be a point for the Nittany Lions.
Well, what you saw there was a play out of system right off the bat, and yet Franti able to deliver a kill for her team. That is key here in Big Ten play. What can you do when the ball is not passed perfectly to the setter?
Franti back to serve. Service air is long. Be sure to check out our 2 exclusive cameras tonight on BTN to go. It's the BTN Net Cam and BTN Coaches Cam. Log on to BTN to go right now and get a unique look at all the volleyball action. The BTN Coaches Cam, the end zone angle, as the coaches love to see everything that's happening at the net from the end zone camera angle, and you can see it on BTN to go. Megan Courtney, her first swing. And Justine Wong-Arantes can't dig it up. The point for the Nittany Lions.
Well, it's going to be fun keeping track of Megan Courtney's swings. That one's cross court. You're going to see that she's got a ton of range. So she's not going to hit the same shot twice, and she's really going to put pressure on that Nebraska backcourt defense.
Poor first contact for the Huskers. And Fecki just sends it cross court. Courtney taps it down as the ball hung at the net. An easy one for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, that's an easy one for Courtney. She knows exactly what to do when that ball's hanging at the net. She took a little bit off of it. Nice touch from the block, but it goes over the net. And like you said, Courtney takes care of that ball.
And another service error. 2 service errors already for Penn State to start this first set. Keaton Holcomb, the freshman libero for the Nittany Lions out of Belleville, Texas. Coming off an 18-dig performance in the 5-setter against Minnesota last Saturday. Here's Wong-Arantes to serve. And another service error, so not a good start for either team from the service line. We take a look at the series history. Nebraska leads all time, but since the Huskers joined the Big Ten Conference, Penn State has a slight edge, 4 wins to 3 over Nebraska. And think back to the time these two teams met in Omaha in 2008 when 17,000 people watched Penn State win in 5 sets and go on to the national championship. Timing is not there for Nebraska, and another point for Penn State.
Yeah, this is not the way John Cook wants his team to start off. You want to be in rhythm offensively. I know that there's some new players and new positions, but nonetheless, you got to get a swing on the ball to side out.
When these two teams met last year, once in Lincoln and once here in Happy Valley, Huskers did not get to go off to a good start in either one of those matches. Franti behind the 10-foot line. Hunter sets Fecki. speed from Courtney. Albright is in the back row. Free ball opportunity for Penn State. Another tip from Megan Courtney. Long rally going here, but not great play on the other side of the net. But Haley Washington ends the rally.
You got a long rally, you want to end it. Who do you set if you're Penn State setter? There you go. Watch this kid swing at the ball. Haley Washington rips that ball down the line.
Haley Washington, back-to-back Big Ten Player of the Week, coming off a season-high 13 kills against Minnesota. Hitting 600 in the last 5 matches, and there's the stuff for Courtney and Washington.
Well, we mentioned Katie Ralston switching positions slightly. She's moving to the right side. Although she's an outside hitter, it's a new angle for her to hit at.
7-2 start for Penn State in set 1. They're on top of the Huskers. Continue their winning streak. Penn State coming in with 33 consecutive matches won, and they are off to a 13-0 start this year. Katie Ralston on the right side is blocked again. That brings us to our Coyote Logistics No Excuses Impact Player of the Match, and it's Haley Washington because she's already off to a great start. The 3-time Big Ten Player of the Week this season, including back-to-back awards, leading the nation in hitting percentage so far. Not a good first contact for Nebraska. Courtney, the big swing, and that ball will be in. Another one for the Nittany Lions. Haley Washington, so much enthusiasm she brings to this Penn State program. Just a sophomore, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year a season ago. 3 kills per set for her in the last 5 matches. And she's second in the Big Ten in blocks per set, so a great year already for Haley Washington. And another block for the Nittany Lions, making number 3 in this first set. Yeah,
right now Penn State is really zoning in on Fecky with the serve. They're picking on her big time, and she hasn't really been able to get into a rhythm offensively because Penn State's forcing her to play that first ball.
Taylor Krause on the service line for Penn State. Albright takes the serve for the Huskers, off speed from Fecky. That ball makes it over the net. Weiskircher setting Haley Washington on the tip. That's seen a lot of good swings on either side of the net. Courtney again forced to tip. 10-foot line for Courtney, and she goes off the hands of the Husker block.
Well, Weiskircher is lucky that she's got Courtney swinging on the left side because in that rally, she gave Courtney some bad sets, and Courtney does what she does best. She plays smart, she keeps the ball in play.
There have been some bad sets, but the Nittany Lions still with the 11-2 lead in this first set.
These two teams match up, you know you're going to get a good performance.
See if Nebraska can end this run by Penn State, needing the side out, and they get it from Fecky.
That's a nice, strong swing by Fecky. She moved up, so she wasn't playing that first ball. She was able to take a nice, big approach, and then they finally got their 3rd point. They were stuck on 2 there for quite some time.
Those 2 points came from service errors from Penn State, so that's the first actual kill of this match for the Huskers. Weiskircher setting Haley Washington.
Now, how stressed out is the blocking people right now for Nebraska? You know, you don't know where to go, and you have to be lightning quick. And you can see there, what a great shot. You can see the seam between the 2 blockers, and that's what Haley Washington was.
Amber Ralston in to block a Franti. Play continued, and that ball off the antenna, out of play, so another point for Penn State.
Well, you wonder how long John Cook is going to keep Fecky in there if she doesn't start producing some numbers. And, you know, she really hasn't been able to get into a rhythm, so we'll see how patient he is with her tonight.
Fecky, a freshman from West Point, Iowa, number 2 recruit in the country coming into this year. Another chance for Washington. Stuffed and a block. The Huskers needed that one.
Well, the ball is off the net. Nebraska's blockers move quickly. That great lateral movement. Take a look here. Nice swing blocking. And Franti's trying to go cross court. She goes low seam and ends up putting the ball right into the teeth of the block.
Amber Ralston in the middle this season after playing on the right side. so tough to defend.
Yeah, that's just a really hard ball, as you say, to block and defend. It happens so quickly, and you know, as a defensive player, you kind of have to guess as to where the ball is going to go. Right now, Washington seems to be really hitting that line shot when she goes behind the setter, so perhaps dig low and dig line.
Washington serving, that's a service error for her, but she does have 13 aces on the season, so she's added that element to her game this season. See if Nebraska can turn things around here in the first set. We mentioned the first time these two teams met in 2014, it was a dominant performance in set number 1 for Penn State. They won it 25-12, but the Huskers would go on to win that match in 4 sets. So this is a long way left to go in this one, even though it's a poor start. And Cecilia Hall can't bounce that off her elbow and keep it going, so another point for Penn State.
And Franti took a ball that was low, tight, and inside. That's the kiss of death for setters. For hitters, that's not much you can do as a hitter with that ball, so she tipped it and managed to somehow get it to score.
Weiskircher on the service line for Penn State. Good job in the back row by Courtney. Here's a swing from Simone Lee, seeing some playing time on the right side. Lee combining with Whitney for the block.
Well, it's nice to see Simone Lee out there as a sophomore outside hitter. She does a good job of sealing that net and reaching back to the inside. That's a huge block to hit around.
Simone Lee played 2 sets against Minnesota last week, but did not play against Wisconsin. Kelsey Feen on the roll shot gets to go down.
You know, I like smart hitters, and Feen with that shot took a little bit of speed off of it. Lots of topspin, though, and really did a good job of placing the ball where she wanted it to go.
Franti, the big swing, and the block for the Huskers.
Seems like Nebraska's team right now is picking on Franti on serve receive. She's getting a lot of balls to pass. And that's just a poorly hit ball. She had an angle to hit the ball into, and she hit it right into the belly of the block.
Diana Whitney with the set from the middle. Whitney, a player who can get it done on the right side and in the middle. This plays so well at the net.
Yeah, it's really hard to defend this Penn State offense because these players can swing at various points along the net, and on serve receive you really have to know where your hitter is along the net and track their approach. It happens all very quickly, so you have to be thinking ahead of time.
Kendall Pearson to serve for Penn State. Hunter is set to Hall. Whitney is there. Courtney to swing, puts it down in front of the freshman Maloney.
Courtney playing with that confidence that she has. Some nice high set on a not so great defensive play there for Nebraska. They need to really try to dig a little bit sharper angle when Courtney is hitting.
5 kills now for Megan Courtney. Feen off the block and down. Kelsey Feen, an All-American, All-Honorable mention a year ago. She was 8th in the Big Ten in kills per set, but remember, she got a late start to her season a year ago, and then she came in and went off with 10 or more kills in 10 of the last 12 Big Ten matches for the Huskers. Tough set, and the block.
Now you're starting to see how Nebraska's serve is coming into play, putting a little bit of pressure on Penn State. You see this really tight ball that Weiskircher is able to push to the outside, but nonetheless, blocking team for Nebraska knows exactly where it's going and sets up.
Monica Albright on the serve, leading this Husker team in service aces. And a quick side out from Penn State.
Ayana Whitney there in the middle again. A great pass allows that quick in the middle to be run. And the elevation that, and she just gets up so high, she's hitting over top of the block and then sharp angles.
Big swing there from Hall, and that's going to be an error for Nebraska. just not in rhythm in this first set for the Huskers.
Yeah, they really need to reset their focus. Maybe they're nervous here. Young players just trying to figure things out here in the Big Ten play against Penn State. It's a tough one to be in Rec Hall and trying to get a W here in the first set.
Hunter setting Fecky. Took a little off and off the block and down. Our question on Twitter, the best rivalry in the Big Ten Conference. Get a few of your answers. Audrey and I already kind of giving our opinion. Nebraska and Penn State. It's still such a young rivalry, though, for these two teams. It's been a long one, but not that many matches played overall. Just 24 meetings prior to this one. Simone Lee with the big swing. And Lee taking advantage of the hands of the Husker block.
Well, it's interesting that Russ Rose has kind of tweaked his lineup a little bit. You know, we've got Ayanna Whitney in the middle and Simone Lee on the right side. So nice physical front row for Penn State.
Russ Rose came into this match saying that his team is a work in progress, knew the lineup that they had so far this year may not be the one they finish with, and kind of a theme for Penn State. You will see the lineup change if a player's not getting it done. Becky cross court, that's wide. So another error in Nebraska. 5 kills, 5 errors in this first set.
You just wonder when that substitution is going to happen. I feel like it's going to happen here pretty quick. Becky, take a look at what's going on here, regroup.
Whistle against Penn State as they reached over the net and did not let Kelly Hunter get to that ball to set it. 22-11 lead here in set number 1 for Penn State.
You can see John Cook's frustration there as he's giving some barking orders to his team.
Haley Washington has seemed unstoppable all year. When she gets that slide, it's usually a kill.
Right, and she's hitting over top of the freshman blocker for Nebraska. And so, you know, the advantage goes obviously to Haley Washington. Not only is she fast, but she's smart. She sees the hands and she's able to hit around them or straight down.
Tough serve. Hunter just sent it over her back. Washington the long run. And another kill for Haley Washington. Such a great first year for her. When we had a chance to talk to her this week, she said the biggest difference for her is she's got more responsibility this season. Now that she's a sophomore, she doesn't just go up there and play. She's aware of what she needs to do for her team. Yeah,
it's always a work in progress, and these athletes evolve as they play more Big Ten volleyball, and they get smarter as they go along, as Haley Washington is displaying here tonight.
Second set point coming up for Penn State here in set 1. Help but remember that match in Lincoln a year ago where the Huskers were played off the floor in the first set. That was a quiet Devaney Center, and then they came back and won the next 3. But that's a bad service error to end the first set. Penn State 25-12 win in set number 1 as the number 1 team in the nation has the 1-0 lead over Nebraska inside Rec Hall. At home, coming up following tonight's match, Big Ten close-up. Penn State, Wisconsin volleyball go behind the scenes with these two elite programs in the days leading up to the Big Ten Conference opener, and then get a chance to see them immediately following this match between Penn State and Nebraska. And we get a look inside the film room with Salima Rockwell and the new Penn State setter, Brianna Weiskircher.
Set this ball in this direction, and your body's in the right position to do it, and you can do it. I like that.
Literally everything runs around the setter, and you know, you're the one that touches the ball during every play. And obviously the coaches are always the toughest on the setters because you have to play defense, you have to set, you have to be able to know how to run an offense, you have to serve, you have to do it all. It gets crazy at times.
This is exactly what Bates does, so then you can create something over here.
Being able to be here for a year underneath Micah, you know, Micah was a great athlete and she was a great leader and a great volleyball player. And I think it definitely helped motivate me because I know that I can be just as good as her.
Big Ten close-up immediately following this match. That is an hour of TV you do not want to miss, and a great look at how coaches work with setters.
Yeah, it is a vital component to being a great setter. You've got to watch film. It's easy, as you saw in that clip there, to slow things down, pause it, take a look at blocking schemes, and that's how you learn how to be a great setter. And Salima Rockwell, the former All-American for Penn State, boy, what a great teacher she is in teaching how to be a great setter and run a superb offense.
Think about how early this is into the career of Brianna Weiskircher. She's got this talented group of coaches around her. Had a chance to watch Hancock a year ago, but she's going to take the time. Just a redshirt freshman, highly touted on her own, the number 13 recruit in the country coming out of high school. So she should have a great future as Simone Lee getting some more playing time and another kill for her.
Well, Simone Lee sees a huge area down the line, takes a little bit off, and places it perfectly to get a big kill here for her team.
Lee, the sophomore out of Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. And an easy one for Whitney at the net. Didn't have to do very much for that kill.
Yeah, bad pass from Nebraska gives the advantage to the front row, and Penn State's front row, boy, they know what to do with those balls that are hanging at the net.
And not a huge surprise to see Whitney having success in the middle. Russ Rose has always talked about that she's possibly a better player as a middle than she is on the right side, but they just needed her on the right side throughout her time. And a big block, though, for the Huskers.
Yeah, and you can see with that set that the ball was kind of curving toward the net, and that's a tough ball to hit. You're going to see the release here, and the ball is tight and inside, and there's not much here. You can see it right there on that angle. Real difficult, and it's a very subtle difference between what a perfect set is and what a too tight set is, but I think you saw it there with that camera angle.
Some of the film that maybe Penn State will be looking at after this match between Salima Rockwell and Weiskircher. Courtney, 6 kills now for her in the match as she goes off the hands.
Well, one of the most difficult balls to defend are the ones that deflect off a poor block, and Megan Courtney sees the hands and uses the hands, deflects off the hands. Real tough for Nebraska's backcourt to play that ball.
Hunter well off the net on that set, and an easy block for Courtney. She's so good on those solo stuffs.
Yeah, she can block like nobody's business, but you know what? The whole Penn State team, they're just phenomenal blockers. Technique-wise, they do it great. You know, when you do a lot of research for this gig, you look at a lot of different numbers, but the one that stood out to me was Penn State's blocking. 131, their opponents 57. That is an outrageous number just to show how great Penn State's blocking team is.
Megan Courtney has been one of the best blockers on this team for 4 years now. She came with such a high volleyball IQ out of high school. Now 88 solo blocks in her career. The NCAA championship most outstanding player a year ago for Penn State. Washington with the big swing. Francie out of the back row. Ostrander into the match. She has the dig. Another swing for Fecky. And the up from Francie in the back row. Hunter goes for the dump. Courtney saves it, and Francie puts it over. Long rally continues. Simone Lee ends it as she tools the block.
Well, fantastic defense on both sides of the net to make this rally such an exciting one. How frustrating would you be if you were Nebraska trying everything you got to score a point? Take a look at these great defensive gets. And then finally, the big swing on the right side, the deflection off the block off of Fecky.
BTN standout for the defense of Penn State, keeping that rally going. No chance for Fecky, but another almost block for Penn State. Huskers fortunate to keep it alive. Washington is stuffed. That's a huge block for the Nebraska freshman.
Well, and that's the momentum change that Nebraska needed, and now they've got to build on that play. Such a positive play for them. They need to get in each other's faces, eye contact with one another, and just kind of go 1 point at a time. Don't worry about that first set. Start chipping away here.
When we talked to John Cook this week, he had said about this matchup, they don't really think about the big picture of these being two iconic programs. They just think about point by point, set by set, and focus on what they need to do. And as you said, Audrey, they just have to take that and try to build off that last block. Attack air there from the Nittany Lions, tied up at 5 here in the second set. Do not see those airs from Megan Courtney often like that. Freshman Kenzie Maloney serving for the Huskers. That's another service error for her. That brings the count up to Nebraska. 3 service errors here in the match.
Yeah, and it's hard to build and get into a rhythm. We keep talking about the rhythm of the game. If you have these self-imposed errors, it's just so discouraging. So, you know, right now they just need to clean up on their side of the court.
Franti trying to get going, and she'll have the kill. Brings us back to our Twitter question. Best rivalry in the Big Ten. A lot of answers with Nebraska and Penn State in there, and when you have 2 programs that have been in the national title picture as many years as these 2 have, that's no surprise. But Penn State, Wisconsin's gotten a lot better as of late. A lot of fun to watch those 2 teams play. Amber Ralston with the kill for the Huskers. Still noteworthy that Katie Ralston has not gotten on the board yet with a kill on the right side, and that is an All-American, a go-to player for this Nebraska team who has not been able to get anything started.
Yeah, it's probably very concerning to John Cook, and how we going to get her into the offense, I'm sure, is part of the conversation on the bench.
Courtney flies out of the back row, recovers as the ball came off the block. Courtney will set. Franti the off speed. The coverage from Fiend, but she doesn't keep it in play.
Oh, phenomenal play there by Penn State. Broken play. Megan Courtney's got fantastic hands, sets up a sweet ball to Franti on the left side, and you could see Nebraska's defense collapsing. They're in the right spot. Then you've got to execute a good dig, high to the setter, regroup, and try and get a transition attack.
See the kills, the differential right now, 20-7 in favor of Penn State. Whitney had to take a moment to adjust, couldn't take advantage of that opportunity, so the point to Nebraska.
Well, Weiskircher went up with the jump set and faked, and I think she faked out her own teammates there. So, yeah, just a poorly executed quick attack by Penn State.
Big swing for Whitney as she turns it around.
Take a look at Weiskircher racing off the net. She's well past the 10-foot line, puts up a really good set, and allows her hitter the best opportunity to score.
I've talked to a number of coaches throughout this conference. They all say Penn State has 3 of the best pin hitters in the nation, and then the best middle in the country when you factor in Haley Washington. So many different options for Weiskircher to set to. Franti, the big swing. Whitney goes off the tape and out of play. So 9-7 here, 9-8 in the second set.
Let's take a look if there's a touch on the block here. Yeah, it seemed to just get hammered on the top of the net, and surprisingly didn't hit a blocker's hand, so I think it was the right call.
Hall on the quick set from Hunter. Tied at 9 now in the second set, and we take a look at the balance for this Penn State attack. As talk about all the options for the Nittany Lions. Courtney, Washington now combining for 11 kills. Franti has 4 kills so far, 4 kills for Whitney. But an ace there for Albright. Albright has been so good from the service line.
Yeah, and this is the first Nebraska lead of the match. So we'll see if they can maintain this lead and put a little pressure on Penn State.
Power from Franti. Ball comes back to Penn State. Lee down the line. Out of play, though, on the attack air, and the Huskers with the 2-point lead.
Well, I know Russ Rose has a short leash for some of his players, and Lee is somebody who he has inserted into the lineup. We'll see how long. He lets her make a few errors here. Let's see if he keeps her in.
Whitney on the off speed for the point.
Yeah, Yeah, that's a smart shot. Everybody is on their heels waiting for a big bomb to come across the net, and then a nice little topspin shot. Look at all that spin on the ball. Makes the ball drop very quickly in the middle of the court.
Whitney, a second-team All-American a year ago for Penn State. Double figures in kills each of the last 5 matches. Holcomb will come in on the bump set. It's a middle and Hall setting Fecky. Huskers continue to go to the freshman. Courtney looking for that back corner, and she'll have the termination.
Well, Fecky had a number of attempts to terminate and do something positive with the ball. She kept the ball in play. Her defense had her back, but then here you see a great outside hitter, quite possibly one of the best outside hitters in the country, show how it's done by hitting high off the blocker's hands.
Alicia Ostrander with the point, just the 5th match of the season for her. Ostrander became a bigger part of the lineup a year ago, but now finding some time here on the right side for the Huskers.
Yeah, and Ostrander has the ability to really thump the ball, and that's exactly what Nebraska needs her to do right now. Block, get good touches on the ball, but then if she gets the chance to swing for a point, she needs to swing hard.
Weiskircher back to Courtney, hammers that ball.
What can you say? This kid is incredible. She has hands in front of her, yet is composed and knows what to do with the ball. Her ability to hit high off of the hands is incredible.
Megan Courtney almost has a double-double, and we're not even halfway through the second set. Fecky takes advantage for the point for the Huskers.
That ball needs to be a controlled dig. You can see how plays like that just are not acceptable. I know Russ Rose wants better ball control from that first contact.
Washington can't keep that ball in play, so now a few more mistakes building up here for Penn State. That's 5 errors here in the second set. One-handed set there by Weiskircher. Fecky tools the block. Huskers turning it around from the first set, and they have the 15-12 lead in set number 2. Nebraska has outscored Penn State 25-24, so big turnaround as Nebraska has cut down on some of those mistakes. But any time that Penn State can get the ball to Courtney like that, it'll result in a point.
That's right, and one of the things that you don't often see is just her ability to play that first contact on serve receive. I don't know that anybody moves to the ball better, has a better platform, and passes so well to target. So it's an interesting service choice to serve the ball to Courtney.
Hunter, good job laying out by Kraus to save that one. Out of the back row was Albright, and there's another block for Courtney.
Well, a nicely read play by Megan Courtney and Haley Washington. They saw that the ball was being released to the backcourt. You see her jump step in, and there you see a nice seal on the block, hip to hip, 4 hands over.
Poor first contact for the Huskers. Fecky out on the antenna, so the point to Penn State. We're tied at 15. But going back to talking about Megan Courtney, coming into the Big Ten opener, we talked with head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, Kelly Sheffield. He had said that he does not think there is a better passer in the nation than Megan Courtney. So maybe a decision that Huskers should think about before serving at Courtney going forward. All tied up at 15 in the second set. Going to have to get some things sorted out. Still not playing their best volleyball. And they continue to have Katie Ralston on the bench, Audrey.
Yeah, you know, Katie is an All-American. She has got to show up to this match. If Nebraska wants to win it. So they're different with her on the floor. When she's playing her best volleyball, they are very good. But we have seen that Katie Ralston can have these moments where she kind of comes in and out. And right now, Nebraska really needs her to step it up and get back on the court.
If you remember the last time these two teams played here in Rec Hall, last November 29th, Katie Ralston struggled against Penn State, and she was taken out after the first set, did not play the remainder of that match, and Nebraska was swept by the Nittany Lions. And at the moment, she is spending time on the bench for the Huskers. Ralston leads this team in kills, 3.29 kills per set, but had a really poor first set, and so she's seeing time on the sidelines.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all an athlete needs is a little wake-up call. And, you know, hey, this is unacceptable. Your level of play can be so much better than what it is currently. And sometimes, you know, coaches just have to force that issue. So I would imagine she'll get back on the court and start producing some better numbers.
11 kills now for Megan Courtney, hitting over 300, 9 digs, and 4 blocks. That is an incredible stat line for not even having played 2 sets. Big swing from Amber Ralston, and she puts it in.
Now, Amber seems very comfortable in the middle. She's very quick, and you're going to see this nice slide approach here. Fast arm swing, good snap.
Just a reminder, there are no replays here at Penn State. Only Minnesota, Nebraska, as well as Wisconsin are the 3 teams who've decided to use replay this season. There's a dump from Weiskircher for the point.
So when the setter is front row, she is going to always jump set and force the blocker to make a decision. Do I block with her, or do I just stay down? And, you know, she is an attacker when she's up there. There you can see that she just placed that ball perfectly in the middle of Nebraska's court.
21st kill of the season for Weiskircher. Whitney takes advantage of the block.
Whitney feeling really good in the middle, looking really good in the middle, hitting high off the blocker's hand. You can see that the block is there set up, but it's the angle that she hit the ball. That's called vision. You see where the block is, you're going off the pinky of the outside blocker's hands.
A service error from Haley Washington. Back to a 1-point second set. We see this move in the lineup for Penn State. Anna Whitney into the middle. Heidi Thielen had that second middle spot for the Nittany Lions, but Whitney having a good night so far with 6 kills. Free ball coming over for Penn State. Weiskircher, Franti the swing. And that'll be a touch call off the Huskers.
Oh, Franti's all smiles after that one. She had a bit of a delay on her swing. You're going to see this very high set touch off the blocker's hands.
That might have been in one of those plays that John Cook would want a replay for. That looked high.
Yep. Did
not see the touch initially, but the call goes Penn State way, and there is no challenge here in Rec Hall. Fiend off speed for the point.
Well, Simone Lee is a great offensive player, but defensively she kind of gets caught here. Take a look at how she's not quite down low, not expecting the ball to come to her. And I think on defense, you always have to assume it's going to come to me, it's going to come to me, and that way you can react a little bit quicker when it does come to
you. Whitney has to adjust. Becky the big swing. Another chance for her. Freshman off the block. It'll be Courtney who sets Franti. Continue to see long rallies between these teams. Who can put the ball away? It's Becky.
Well, what you saw there was great controlled blocks on both sides of the net. Easy to play the ball in the backcourt. You see one right there. Good coverage on both sides of the net. And then that deep shot right on the perimeter of the court lands in for Becky.
Tied at 20 in the second set. We take a look at the Big Ten standings. Only 3 teams remain unbeaten in Big Ten play. Penn State, Nebraska, and Purdue. And One of them will fall tonight, as we have seen a great start to the Big Ten Conference season, but a lot of good matches early on. Illinois and Wisconsin. Illini got off to a slow start, recovered, but the Badgers finished them off, and even though Wisconsin started 0-2, they will be in that Big Ten title picture for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it is a long season, so you have to come ready to play every single night, and it is a grind. We hear that word a lot. You know, you just have to come prepared, and once you're done with a match, it's behind you. Refocus for the next match coming up.
It is a grind in the Big Ten Conference, and you need players who can get it done. Go-to players, that includes Megan Courtney for this Penn State team. The numbers now a double-double for her, 10 kills, 11 digs, and 4 blocks.
Yeah, and what she does is, you know, first of all, she's such a complete player, and then whenever her team needs her to perform a skill, whether it's in the backcourt or front court, she's so reliable and consistent and, you know, such a team player. So she's one of my favorite players in the Big Ten.
And as a senior, a leader now for this Penn State team after the departure of the 4 seniors from a year ago. She said after the Minnesota match that it cannot take place the way it did, where Penn State did not play well in the 3rd and 4th set. She felt like they stopped playing for a little bit against the Gophers after taking a 2-0 lead. And she said that's not acceptable for this Penn State program.
Well, how mature of her to recognize that and embrace that and understand that as a senior. And so she'll help Russ Rose communicate that to the team. And, you know, sometimes peer pressure is good pressure. So she will, you know, let her teammates know that, hey, that's not acceptable. We can do better. And they're showing great performance here tonight.
And do not miss Big Ten Close-Up. You hear from Megan Courtney talking about her plans for the future with volleyball, how she's developed over the course of her career. Big Ten Close-Up following our match as a great discussion with Megan Courtney. There's Courtney. Fecky is stuffed. Lee and Whitney pumped up.
Well, earlier in that rally, Keaton Holcomb for Penn State made a superb dig in the backcourt to keep the ball alive, and those are the little things that sometimes we miss. Courageous defensive play by Holcomb keeps the ball alive for Penn State.
22-20 lead in the 2nd set for Penn State. They're trying to go up 2-0 on Nebraska into the intermission. That's for him, and you see the record. And then John Cook, number 6 overall in winning percentage all time. They combined 9 national titles between these two coaches, each at these 2 schools, and 2 coaches who just have been able to turn these programs into winning machines, perennial powers in women's volleyball.
Yeah, they're 2 of the best analytical coaches in the game, and they do a great job of making adjustments on the bench as the match is going on. And it's so awesome to talk to them and hear their game plan and how they're going to make adjustments. And, you know, Mike, the other thing is they are great recruiters. These are the finest athletes, female athletes, that you're seeing out on the floor, so they do a good job of recruiting. And a lot of times, let's give some credit to the assistant coaches because they're the ones pounding the pavement searching for these top players.
Huskers need to string some points together, and they go to Fecky. Kayla Fecky now with 8 kills for the Huskers to lead the way for them.
All right, so Fecky's starting to get warmed up here, and I like the shots that she's hitting. This sharp cross-court shot, and it's deep. It's going right to that perimeter, and so as a defensive player, you have to make a move, and you have to guess whether it's in or out. So it's a superb shot by Fecky.
Does not get the tip over. So mistake that could prove costly for Penn State.
Yeah, that was a critical error for them. Gives Nebraska some hope here. They can get this 2nd set. They're just down 1.
Penn State with a 1-point lead in the 2nd set, trying to go up 2-0. Russ Rose talking things over with his team. Those are the errors that, not surprised to see a timeout right after from Russ Rose and his staff. And coming up right after the conclusion of our match, it's Big Ten Close-Up, all-access look to the match between Wisconsin and Penn State to open the Big Ten season. You get to see the way these teams train, practice, what they do when they're downtime, including for Haley Washington and Allie Franti cooking up some omelets, I guess. It's their favorite meal that they love to cook at home, but you get to see these teams and how they prepare for a huge match like the Big Ten opener, and it really is an hour you do not want to miss. It is unprecedented. You have not seen this kind of access to 2 volleyball programs like you will see in this show.
Yeah, I loved it, and I'll tell you what, it's a good one to watch.
Penn State, though, more concerned with closing out this second set. The Huskers, if you go down 0-2 on the road to Penn State, so difficult to come back against this Penn State team in Rec Hall. It was interesting, earlier this week, John Cook had said that this is just another Big Ten venue. It's not anything that dramatically different from what they see throughout the rest of the Big Ten, because Penn State doesn't have the crowd that you see at Nebraska, doesn't have the consecutive sellouts like the Huskers, so they're prepared for crowds like this, but another great crowd on hand for this Penn State team. See if they can influence the match here with their fandom and their faithfulness to this Penn State program. Whitney, the swing, straight down off the block, the point for Penn State. Set point for the Nittany Lions.
Well, in order to win these sets and these tight situations, you've got to execute when it matters, and it comes down to oftentimes the outside hitter swinging, and boy, what a great swing she made right there to get that crucial 24th point.
Becky comes right back for Nebraska.
I like the gamesmanship that we're seeing from Becky here in the second set. Take a look at the block that she sees in front of her. Not a well-formed block. You could see Penn State's right side blocker reaching out to the antenna, and that opens a seam in the middle.
Courtney trying to end the second set. Another chance for Becky. That ball will find the floor, and we're headed to extra points in the second set. Huskers still alive. The Ostrander to serve. But a long, poor serve from Ostrander, and it is set point again for Penn State.
Yeah, that's just a mental error, because that ball was served way long. So she wants that back. What she needs to do is forget about that play. She will be responsible for passing a perfect pass right now.
Sets to the middle. Penn State the block, and that'll do it for set two. The Nittany Lions go into the locker room with the 2-0 lead on Nebraska.
Well, let's take a look at this again. The block, you're setting the block right into the best blocker in the nation right here. Haley Washington not forced to move in either direction. The ball evolves slowly, the play evolves slowly for Nebraska. Interesting setting choice by Kelly Hunter for Nebraska.
26-24, the score to end the second set. Penn State up 2-0 on Nebraska as the Nittany Lions look to stay unbeaten in Big Ten play. We'll come back with intermission highlights and stats. See what she does on the right side in the third for Nebraska. Franti the first swing of the third set. Fiend goes off the block. No pancake for Weiskircher. That ball will be down to Nebraska.
Let's take a look at it again. Nice little tip. You can see great placement on the ball, and you can see how she wiped it across her body. Sweet spot right in front of that 10-foot line.
Tough serve from Nebraska, the one-handed set. Lee can't get up on that ball. Weiskircher setting to the back row, and the solo block for Cecilia Hall.
Well, great energy here by Nebraska in the third set, coming out strong. Right now, Penn State hitting right into the block there is Megan Courtney, but the two previous attempts at the ball were not hittable because the ball was underset.
Came into this match talking about the two young setters, Kelly Hunter, Brianna Weiskircher. It's not been the best night for either one of them, but there's an ace off the tape for Hunter.
And sometimes being lucky happens, and that's exactly what Nebraska needs here in the third set. Can they get some calls to go their way and shift momentum to their side?
There's Whitney on the left side. Good coverage there by Fiend. And there will be the first kill of the match for Katie Ralston.
And just saying that in the third set, she's getting her first kill is really what has been Nebraska's, issue tonight. So let's see if she can get warmed up here in the third.
Good start for the third set for Nebraska. Whitney to swing, she tools the block. Versatile player for this Penn State team. We've seen her on the right, in the middle, now on the left side. Redshirt senior for the Nittany Lions. There's Katie Ralston on the left, and back-to-back kills for her for the Huskers.
Well, and that's got to feel good for Katie, getting a ball in system, a nice set to the outside, perfect height, perfect location for her to take a big swing at the ball.
John Cook has talked about how this Husker team needs Katie Ralston to be that big-time player, the go-to player throughout any match. And Courtney has been a go-to player for Penn State.
Well, she certainly has, and the thing that makes her shot a little different than everybody else's is she's got a superb snap on the ball, so it drops right in front of the defensive player. Most defenses are anticipating that it's going to come right at their forearms, but the spin makes the ball drop so quickly.
That ball long from Cecilia Hall. Russ Rose trying to calm his team down, just get them to play how they're capable in this third set. Another kill for Katie Ralston. Now she's getting going for the Huskers.
Well, and the difference is the pass is something that Kelly Hunter can work with. She has the option to go either way, outside, to the left side, to the right pin, or to the middle when she's setting right from the setter's box. So it's so much easier on Kelly Hunter to set faster to the pins when she's in the front row setting the ball.
And another bad first contact for Penn State and Simone Lee. Courtney into the block. Holcomb got there on the coverage. Another chance for Courtney. Good dig by Wong Orantes. Fecky splits two defenders for the point.
Well, Wong Orantes kept the ball in play. She's seen Courtney hit a few balls, and you can see how she was creeping into the court a little bit more, anticipating where the ball was going to go. Great read here by Wong Orantes, the libero for Nebraska.
The net won by the Huskers as Washington didn't get a good touch on that ball. Another kill for Fecky. 8-3 start in the third set, and much more of what Nebraska wants to see from their team. Huskers off to a good start in the third set, trying to turn it around here in Happy Valley. A volleyball program, this Penn State team, after last year's win. Washington. Open space, and Amber Ralston takes advantage.
Yeah, Francie's struggling a little bit in making plays in the backcourt defense, but a better run offense by Nebraska, putting pressure on that backcourt of Penn State.
Saw in those photos all the seniors that Penn State lost from last year. Nia Grant, Lacey Fuller, Dominique Gonzalez, and of course Micah Hancock, the National Player of the Year. Russ Rose said in that match against Minnesota, his team had to finally learn what it was like to struggle and not have one of those four players from last year to bail them out. And they're in this position right now where someone else needs to step up after another error.
Yes, Penn State has been in this situation before where they haven't played well in the third set. Maybe a little bit of an easier run in the first two sets. So we'll see how they respond here as Nebraska is putting quite a bit of pressure on them in the third.
5-0 run by the Huskers. Lee. Holcomb keeps the ball alive. Pierce sends it over. Fecky, almost a block, but play continues. Penn State fans wanted that ball to go down. Lee the big swing. And then a whistle and a double contact that goes against Albright. Unfortunate way for that rally to end, but great defense by Penn State.
Well, just great hustle plays to keep the ball alive. You can see a couple players going hard after the ball, and if your Penn State's coaching staff, you got to appreciate that effort to try and keep the ball alive.
Great angle of it there to see players laying out to get after that ball for Penn State. Holcomb and Simone Lee, and the ace for Taylor Krause.
Well, that's a nice flat serve. It's dropping as soon as it gets over the net. real tough ball to play on serve receive. You got to move your feet, really try and have better hand ball contact on that. See if you can play this one up.
First ace of the match for the Nittany Lions. Big swing from Katie Ralston.
Katie Ralston takes an approach, face cross court, hit cross court. If you are an outside blocker, you want to take a step inside, but it's got to be a quick step because she jumps quick and releases the ball from her hands very quickly too.
Bit of a different answer there for best rivalry. It's the Spike Squad versus the Boiler Block. It is a fun rivalry between those two student sections. Amber Ralston working behind the center. Met at the net, Hunter. Big swing from Courtney, but she didn't touch anything. And we're now seeing Megan Courtney putting together a few errors here in the third set. She played so well in the first two.
Yep. And the difference in this one here is serve receive. The ball is being controlled better by Nebraska on serve receive. Penn State needs to put a little bit more velocity on their serve and put some pressure on Nebraska. But Nebraska has the ball right now. We'll see what kind of serve is sent over the net.
Not a good first touch there from Holcomb. Courtney trying to clean things up. Albright out of the back row. And Weiskircher took that ball when her libero was able to get there, so the point to Nebraska.
Holcomb on Penn State's side of the net was not able to pass a perfect ball, but hats off to Justine Wong-Orantes, the libero again for Nebraska, doing a great job of reading Megan Courtney's hits, getting right behind the ball and putting up nice balls for her setter to run an offense from.
13-5 lead for Nebraska in the third set. They've turned it around as they got Katie Ralston back into the lineup, and Ralston in this third set, 4 kills for her and a much better performance, hitting .571 this Nebraska team in the third set.
Yeah, she's changing up her shots here. You're going to see Nebraska getting a little bit lucky, but look at that nice cross-court shot. Lots of opening there for her to swing at. And the reason why there was a lot of opening there is the ball was passed better to Hunter. She's able to set a little bit faster to Katie, and that's what Katie does really well, is hit fastballs, and it doesn't allow Penn State's block to set up big hands in front of her.
Currently streaming on BTN to go, the BTN Coaches Cam, the BTN Net Cam. 2 great looks at what goes on at the net, and then also the coach's perspective. Every time we talk to coaches around the Big Ten Conference, they want more of this end zone camera angle, and I think it's more so for them and their scouting than what fans want to see, but it is a great way to watch the match and watch all players in frame at all time from the end zone. Yeah,
and what I like about this shot is you can see blockers and you can see the offensive movement. And so I do like to see, you know, when I'm sitting in an arena, I like to sit on the end line to watch that kind of movement. And I think you can also appreciate the angle of the sets a little bit better when you're sitting from that vantage point.
You can stream that camera on btntogo.com right now. You see the current hitting percentage for these two teams. Penn State hitting 0. Same story as the third set on Saturday against Minnesota. They had 9 kills and 9 errors, hit 0 in that third set, and lost their first set of the season to the Gophers. They're in a position right now in the third where it'll be tough to come back here against Nebraska. Washington doesn't put a swing on that ball. There's a swing from the Husker setter and almost a block for Penn State. That time the big one from Washington, but a good up. Second chance for the Penn State sophomore. Courtney has to adjust, going for the back corner. Franti got to it. Kind of an odd rally here from these two teams. No one wanted to put the ball away. And a whistle as that ball was outside the antenna, so Penn State gets the point at the end of the rally. But both sides of the net, no one seemed to want it at this point.
Yeah, let's take a look at the great coverage here, and then the save by Nebraska. They're just dumping the ball over. Great defensive move in the backcourt by Penn State. You're right, an unorthodox play, but it ended by an unforced error by Fecky on the left side. The ball was set outside the antenna. She ended up hitting the antenna on her swing.
I say it's the hitters who did not seem to want that point defensively. Both teams getting after it and getting on the coverage. Amber Ralston, Lainey Pierce into the match for Penn State at the dig. Pancake from Wong-Orantes. Katie Katie Ralston out of the back row.
That's what a good libero will do for your program. Justine Wong-Orantes for Nebraska hustles to save a ball, pancakes it up, keeping the ball alive for her team. Let's take a look at this here. Great defensive move for her. Just a gut check there, and then you can see the reverse on Penn State's side of the net. Backcourt not able to get a good touch on the ball.
The ace as Penn State let it go. It's an ace for Fecky.
Lots of balls going Ali Franti's way. They're putting a lot of pressure on her. You can see that she sees that. She says, I'm on it, I got it. We'll see what she can do with this one.
It's not a good pass from Franti. Penn State almost lucky to get a point there from Washington, but the Huskers laying out. Courtney out of the back row. Franti, another long rally between these two Big Ten rivals, and the block for the Nittany Lions.
Well, this is great defense again. Take a look at this tough swing by Courtney. Great defense, Nebraska's side, but the block there to terminate the play was all Weiskircher.
Very good back set. Little deception there from the Husker setter. Amber Ralston, the tip, and Washington can't get to it.
So when Washington serves the ball, she's back there on defense, and she made her best effort laying out, trying to do a pancake on that one. Just a little bit too slow. Now you'll see the libero coming in for Washington as she is on the bench right now in the backcourt, as she was playing the backcourt.
Sydney Townsend in to serve for Nebraska. Clips the net. Whitney. Huskers can't keep that ball in play in the back row, and a point and kill for Ayanna Whitney.
Well, this is a good test for both teams. Nebraska has a great advantage right now. Can they maintain a high level of play and get this very important third set under their belt for Penn State? What a challenge it is. You're down by a couple points here. Can you rally your troops and play hard and chip away and win this third set and call it a night?
Franti from the 10-foot line. Coverage from Whitney. Good dig there from Megan Courtney, then she attacks from the back row. Met at the net. Rally continues. Lee ends the rally.
Now you want hitters to go up strong, especially after long rallies. Great approach, and see where that ball lands, right on the line. Super hard to defend those balls.
Hall on the slide. Hunter just taps that over. Penn State. Courtney will set Franti. Couple of hands on the ball for the Huskers. Play continues. Very few first ball side outs in this match as these rallies continue to extend. Another one for Penn State.
Well, that's a gut check on both sides of the net. Stamina key on that one, especially the outside hitters that are going up and jumping numerous times in the rally. Franti has a little bit of oomph left in her as she goes up strong and hits a hard cross-court shot.
16-10 lead for Nebraska in the third. Penn State gaining some momentum. They've won a couple of long rallies. Immediately following our match, it's Big Ten close-up. An inside look at the days leading up to the Big Ten opener between Penn State and Wisconsin. Get a chance to see practice for both teams, the training, inside all the preparation, and then perspective on the match as Penn State won in straight sets over Wisconsin. But a great look at these two programs and the mentality of Russ Rose and how he leads his team. Also get to see Russ Rose interact with the Daily Collegian, the student newspaper for Penn State, as he has his favorite spot on the campus of Penn State where he will sit and talk to media. It's always interesting. Russ Rose is straight to the point, very direct with his players and those who cover his team, and he continues to be someone who elevates the sport of women's volleyball.
Absolutely. He's the most honest person I know. He will tell you what he thinks, and he will not sugarcoat it at all. And I think as players, you know, it might take a while for young kids to understand that, but once you understand his temperament and how direct he is, I think you can appreciate that, because he's never going to, you know, sugarcoat anything. You'll know exactly where you stand with Russ Rose.
Haley Washington said that she loved that. She loved having a coach who was not going to try to butter her up, say the nice thing, tell her exactly what she needed to do and what she needed to improve on, and that's benefited her and benefited numerous Penn State players over the years in the 37 seasons that Russ Rose has been the head coach. And Washington just had so much high praise for her head coach, and even said that there are times that she'll be in the huddle and she just gets a look from Russ Rose and she knows it's go time. It's her time to shine and try to take over a match. She's on the bench currently, but when she gets back in, you know she'll be trying to make something happen for the Nittany Lions. Good job by Courtney, laying out in the back row. Bean, almost a block for Penn State. Now he looked like it was going to end, but it doesn't. Holcomb, the great dig. Bean looking for the back row. Weiskircher sets Lee, and it goes off of the tape and out of play. No touch, the point to the Huskers.
Oh, wow, let's take a look at this. What a great coverage there. Hey, you just got to stay with the ball, and that's what Nebraska is doing. That ball looked in to me. That was clearly in.
So no replay here at Penn State. Just Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Question was whether or not it was in or out, not off of a Husker. Franti, though, comes back. They're going to say that it was out of play. And here's a look at the last one. Off the tape, rolls. And that ball does appear to hit the line. Should have been a point for Penn State. And now it's 18-10 Nebraska. Whitney off the touch of the Husker block.
Nebraska right now is just doing a good job of playing steady, and what I like is that they're just trying to keep the ball in play. When the ball is being attacked, you see great coverage on their side of the net, and you know it doesn't have to be pretty, but they're just keeping the ball in play and knocking it over the net whenever they can.
Oh, hammers the ball down.
Cecilia Hall is a super quick athlete. Really like what she can do. She's a senior out on the floor. Lots of experience, and you know she's got that calm disposition, and there you see she's pointing to the hitters on the other side of the net, calling who she thinks the Penn State ball is going to go to.
It's gone to Courtney often. Lee looking cross court, wants a touch call, does not get it. 5 errors now on Simone Lee, another look. Tough to tell from that angle. Heidi Thielen coming back in for Penn State. Started in the middle for a good portion of the year. Did not start this one, but now getting some more playing time. Whitney. Holcomb saves that ball. And then a whistle on the double contact on the Penn State setter, and Nebraska 4 points away from taking the third set.
Well, as good as Penn State looked in set 1 and 2, they are showing nothing of that here in the third set. Balls passed too tight, double contacts, hitting errors.
Not have those unforced mistakes. Becky with an error. No, they're going to say there is a touch off Penn State. The Penn State faithful can't believe it. We keep coming back to the replay because that's a new addition to collegiate volleyball this year. Only a few schools are selecting it. From that view, it did not look like there was a touch, but Penn State, not one of those schools, so some of these calls have gone against Penn State, and if they had replay available, they might be able to get those overturned. So Whitney tools the block. Penn State, a school that has the technology but does not have a challenge review system. We saw it on Wednesday night between Wisconsin and Illinois. A couple of points turned over there. Nebraska has it at the Devaney Center, and Iowa got a couple of points back because of replays. Huskers, though, still owning this third set. Cecilia Hall, her production's really gone up this year. 2 kills per set for her versus 1.3 in her first 3 seasons as a Husker.
Yeah, she's doing a really good job, and I'm very impressed with the way Nebraska has rebounded after the intermission. They've come back here in the third set, doing a much better job of controlling that first contact, doing a better job of covering, and I think Justine Monarantes is doing a great job of digging Megan Courtney in that left back area.
Here's Courtney off the block. Talk about Monarantes, 21 digs for her in this match so far. It's her 9th match of her career with more than 20 digs. Megan Courtney with those 11 kills in the first 2 sets, just 2 here in the third. Washington connects.
Well, when all else fails, just put it high to Washington and let her work her magic. That was just a high set in the middle, and Washington does a good job of just hitting it high to the angles.
Relatively quiet night, though, from Haley Washington. She does have 7 kills, but not her usual production, as Fecky gives Nebraska a set point. 14 kills now for Michaela Fecky. That's a new career high for her in her first season with the Huskers. 2-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week. 15 kills, couple of blocks, hitting 200. And Nebraska continues to go to Fecky when they really need a kill. Courtney and the stuff. That ball won't get over. Nebraska takes the third set, and the Huskers are back in it.
Well, hats off to Nebraska. They are here to compete, and they're here to try and take a win from Penn State.
2-1 lead for Penn State, but it was all Nebraska in the third. They're back in this match in Rec Hall.
Call yourself a truly elite setter. You can take any ball that comes your way and you can dish out a perfect set. And so right now, both of these setters set very well when they're in the setting box. When they're outside of that setting box, the ball just gets launched high and the hitters are not in rhythm. So I think there can be areas of improvement on both sides of the net with both of the setters.
Which is what you think of the difference. You talk about elite setters and maybe a player like Lauren Carlini who can set well from all over the place and take a bad pass and turn it into a good set.
Right, and Carlini is deceptive. She moves one way and sets the opposite, and it's a perfect set. She sets on the dime, and I think that's where these young setters will have to improve if they truly want to be elite setters.
Good start for the fourth set for Nebraska. Another kill for Katie Ralston. Now 6 for her in the match. All of them coming here in the third and now fourth set. There's Whitney and the roof block for the Huskers.
Predictable high set to the outside allows that quick movement from Nebraska's blocking team to get set up. If that ball could be set a little bit lower and faster, look at how it's launched. It's out of the frame, and we can't even see the ball because it's way, way high.
Simone Lee goes cross court, though, and a good set from Weiskircher.
So Lee getting the nod to start here in the fourth set. She was taken out of the third, so Russ Rose has confidence that she can elevate her game here and help her Penn State team.
I mentioned the high sets and a little bit of a slower tempo offense for Penn State. John Cook talked to us and he said he wants 2 blockers up there at all times because Penn State Doesn't play that fast, but there's another block for the Nittany Lions.
Well, when Penn State's block is on, it just plays mind games with the hitters. It forces hitters to try different shots, and it frustrates them. Take a look at that. That's a huge block to hit around, well formed, and it forms at the very last minute. So as a hitter, you don't really have the option to look and see where the hands are and how to hit off the hands on that particular shot.
10 blocks now for Penn State. They can't combine there to stop Katie Ralston. She's really gotten going, playing back to the way she is capable of.
Yeah, and hats off to her, because sometimes you can just go, well, you know what, it's a bad night, and I'm going to just check it in and call it a night. So it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of confidence, self-confidence to come back into the match and contribute in a positive way.
Amber Ralston. Katie off the back set. Holcomb will set out to Lee, and she sees space cross court again.
Well, if you are a right side attacker in women's volleyball, your job is to terminate, and that is what you need to do on these broken plays, these plays that are out of system. That's when a non-setter is touching the ball, and Lee delivers there for her team.
Off the block. Another chance for Lee. Albright out of the back row, doesn't touch anything.
This is the type of match that or the type of set, the type of play that we expected from both of these teams. Kind of back and forth, big swings, good defensive plays. Like this fourth set is kind of the rhythm that I would have expected from Nebraska and Penn State matchup.
Great quick set to Amber Ralston, and Kelly Hunter finding Amber Ralston. Ralston making the move from the outside on the right to the middle. That's a change for Nebraska this year. They want to be a middle and right side oriented team versus only going to those left side hitters.
Well, having Amber in the middle sure does help out, because she's fast and she's got great placement with her feet in relation to the setter. That time she hits the ball away from Haley Washington's hands. It's a fast snap on the ball, so she has really progressed well in the middle for Nebraska.
Tied up at 4 here in the fourth set. John Cook up out of his seat talking with the down official. Now whistle to serve as Cook trying to give him the signal to his setter. Not a good first contact again by Holcomb. Franti can't dig that ball up, and that's one that she probably should have had.
Yeah, you know, it didn't appear to be that hard of a hit. She was in good position. Let's take a look again. She set up, and yet taking a step forward to play the ball seemed to have caused her a little bit of trouble. She was a little flat-footed there, and you want to be able to move forward and play the ball.
Now it's Russ Rose who is up, talking with the officials.
Hey, let's go.
The two stoic coaches at the moment not happy with what's going on the floor, both up and talking with their teams, talking with the down official. And a little bit of a slowdown here in the fourth set. Better pass this time from Holcomb. Another kill for her as her big night continues. 16 kills for Michaela Fecchi.
Yeah, she has really turned it around and showing why she was one of the top recruits in the country. Just playing with a lot of confidence there. Really didn't play very well in that first set, so great turnaround from her. Well, that is a quick set. It's a 31. Perfect pass allows Weiskircher to set that quick offense to Haley Washington. She's got great feet. And if Penn State could set a little bit quicker, I think their hitters would be so much more successful. I mean, they're still great hitters, but I think it would just add another dimension to their offense.
Mistake there by Fecchi out of play. But Audrey, when you talk about that, is that something that over time you're going to see more from? Weiskircher being able to set the quicker ball. Do you expect a redshirt freshman who's been with the program to maybe be a little bit further along than she is? Or is she's only gotten her starting experience here in 14 matches now? That's going to take more time.
Well, I think when you're a redshirt, you get to set, but you set the second team. So you have to get into a rhythm with the starters. So that's going to take a little bit of time. And I think the more experience she gets and the more she's forced to do it. I mean, these coaches are going to put pressure on her to do what they want her to do. So if they watch film and decide, hey, you know what, we need to run more 31s with Washington, we need to run a quicker slide, then I bet you she will be in the gym working on reps to make that happen.
Two Penn State players collide. Fortunate that no one was hurt running into the scorer's table. At the net, Washington tried to put that ball down. Laying out was Ralston on the save defensively. Slide play for Haley Washington. Another dig for Katie Ralston. Solo stuff ends it with Megan Courtney.
Well, Megan Courtney, what a great job she did of covering for Haley Washington. Haley ran the slide. Let's take a look at this great get by Penn State. The rally continues here. You're going to see Haley Washington run a slide, and then Megan Courtney coming into the middle to help block, almost taking over Haley Washington's spot there on the block.
Amber Ralston with the roll shot. Look at the numbers for Amber Ralston, 7 kills for her. Tied with her sister, Katie Ralston, both of them combining 14 kills. Townsend back in to serve. Courtney flies out of the back row, doesn't put much on it on the off speed, and catches the line as the Huskers let it fall.
Well, good deceptive shot there to tip. Back to the right back corner. Take a look at her speed on the approach. Nicely placed. You know, we talk about running a fast offense. The only way you can run a fast offense is if you have a pass. So, you know, the setters have got to work hard to try and do something perfectly. When the ball is passed perfectly, you've got to be in tempo.
Didn't even get a chance to pass there for the Huskers. The ace for Haley Washington. It's number 14 on the year for Haley Washington.
You can see her talking to herself here, focusing on the serve.
Another dig there from Courtney. Franti with the mistake on the hit. It has not been Allie Franti's night.
No, it has not, but that's a difficult ball to do something with, although an experienced and talented player like Franti should just roll shot it in, do something. That ball needs to be set in front of her 5 feet off the net so she can move forward as she's hitting the ball.
The ace from the Huskers. Penn State not even very close to that ball at all.
Yeah, Holcomb is off there on serve receive. If you are a libero, you've got to just take ownership of the backcourt. You want the ball to come to you. You want to play the ball. So Holcomb's struggling right now on serve receive.
There's been a lot of talk about the departure of Micah Hancock. But how about Dominique Gonzalez not being around as well after graduating? Penn State missing her this season. Weiskircher trying to take it herself. Franti at the 10-foot line. The ball pinballs around and goes down for Penn State.
Those are the most difficult balls to defend. You're going to see a nice set there by Courtney leading the hitter. And as you said, pinballing, hitting one hand, then the other of Nebraska's block.
All tied up at 10 here in the fourth. Cross court. That'll be out of play. Bean looked like she thought she had that one, but it was wide.
Out here.
Nebraska out of system. Weiskircher runs into Simone Lee. Holcomb lays out. Penn State's not going to get it over, and Russ Rose and his staff can't be happy with that as Simone Lee got in the way of her setter.
Yeah, it just sloppy play, and it just seems like, you know, they're just so discombobulated. There you see Weiskircher kind of tripping on Simone Lee's foot, and then they just couldn't recover. Yeah, Russ Rose and Salima are just not happy about what they're seeing from their crew right now.
The block for Nebraska as they get Whitney set right back at her.
Let's take a look at this again. Can't see the line, but Nebraska's blocking team seems to think that ball went in.
11th block of the match for Nebraska. A little indecision on who's going to take that ball for Penn State. Fecky, the big swing. She has the touch call and a 2-point lead for Nebraska. The only real separation we've seen in the fourth so far. Tell from that view, but again, could be a chance for a replay if there was one. Penn State, though, responds.
Well, I love to see how kids respond in these types of situations. This one's back and forth, and who's going to rise to the occasion, and who's going to be the go-to player that the setters rely on to take some big swings at critical times.
So far, it's been Michaela Fecky for Nebraska, Megan Courtney, and Ayanna Whitney for Penn State, the go-to players. There is Fecky. Pierce with the up. Roll shot from Courtney over. All connects in the middle.
Let's take a look at this nice quick attack here. Roll shot by Penn State is like a free ball, and there you see a nice 31. That's a quick set that's pushed past the setter in zone 3 along the net. Lots of opening to hit the ball.
Megan Courtney, powerful swing. Shot by Wong-Arantes to get a touch on it. Penn State, no one could control that ball. And the Huskers with a 3-point lead in the fourth set, trying to come back and force a decisive fifth.
Nebraska's serve pass game has elevated as this match has gone on.
25 digs now for Justine Wong-Arantes. Whitney with the set in the middle. Nebraska's defense was ready. Chances there for blocks for the Huskers. Fecky tools the block.
And should we mention Fecky? Coming on strong, doing exactly what you want from your left side hitter. Lots of shots, varying them, hitting off the blocker's hands and then deep perimeter. I like this kid. She's a player.
Weiskircher back set to Whitney. Tough one, that'll go off the antenna, out of play. These teams, these programs, seen a lot of turnaround in the past few years. Young in spots on both sides of the net. Even though Nebraska, you think of this program, they have no problems playing against the #1 team in the country. They've won 3 of their last 4 matches against #1. So they could come back, but Megan Courtney getting the job done. You know, we talked about a triple-double earlier for Rachel Monarek of Michigan State. Well, Megan Courtney is 3 blocks away from a triple-double.
Yeah, and you can see that as the ball is being set. Look at her hitter right there, the eyes. Great angle there that from the camera we could see her eyes looking at the approach of the hitter, and that's what you got to do to line up before the ball's being attacked. Where your feet land are super important.
Audrey, we continue to see Michaela Fecky tool the Penn State block. What do you want to see different from the Penn State blockers to keep that ball in instead of letting it go out of play?
Well, good outside hitters will tool. They're trained to know how to tool, but what will help the block is if they move cross court and reach in the middle of the court as they're touching the ball.
Amber Ralston tools off Courtney in Nebraska, 7 points away from forcing this one into a 5th set. Timeout for Russ Rose. It's Penn State. Amber Ralston, another kill for her, but Michaela Fecky, 20 kills in this match. That's a new personal best for her. See a conversation between Russ Rose and his setter, Brianna Weiskircher.
So what a coach will typically do in a timeout is pull the setter aside, as you saw Russ Rose doing there, talk about where he wants the ball to go. Good play, good pass. Where does the setter need to set the ball? Right now, I bet Russ is talking to them. Yeah, here he's talking about blocking, reaching over, making sure you're not getting tooled, but they just need to compete hard here, play the game like they know how to play it, and trust each other to do, every individual needs to do their little job on the court.
Well, after a slow start this match for Nebraska, Michaela Fecky, as well as Katie Ralston, Amber Ralston, they've gotten it going, and you see the numbers for Katie Ralston, 7 kills for her. All of that in the past 2 sets. Her sister Amber Ralston has 8 kills, and Michaela Fecky with 20 kills. The hitting percentage isn't that high, but you think about the slow start she had and then how well she's done in the past few sets. Big difference for her and the freshman. Learning how to play in the Big Ten Conference, just the 3rd match for her of Big Ten play. John Cook had said that she is a mature player, a smart player, is very composed out there, and she has a lot of shots, and we've seen them throughout this match.
That's right. And, you know, their first 2 matches were against Iowa, so, you know, you're not forced as an outside hitter to deal with a block that looks like Penn State. So Fecky's getting better as she sees what's in front of her. She's responding very well to that big block.
4-point lead for the Huskers. Ralston on the service line. Weisgertner sets Haley Washington. Holcomb has to set it to Courtney. They're going to whistle that one outside the antenna, so another one for Nebraska.
Now, bad error by Penn State there to give an easy point to Nebraska, and you just can't do that at this point of the 4th set.
State put together a run and come back here in the 4th. Or are we headed to set number 5? Katie Ralston, the ace.
Now you can see how that ball was deep and flat, hitting right on the end line. Holcomb, the libero for Penn State, struggling a little bit here with serve receive.
Will be a service there. So, as you said, Keaton Holcomb struggling in serve receive, but throughout the night, really, she's had a number of poor first contacts. And Audrey, you talked about it earlier. If you're not getting that first contact, there's not much else you're going to be able to do with your attack.
That's right, and everything is based on that first contact, and setters need to get into a rhythm, which affects the hitting rhythm. So really, the most important contact is the pass or the dig.
Key block for Penn State. Megan Courtney again.
Courtney and Washington keeping Penn State in this one, lining up perfectly, stepping inside, and you can see the outside hitter, which is Megan Courtney right now, the outside blocker, stepping way inside the court to help out and help seal the middle of the net.
Huskers with the 4-point lead, another timeout. As Penn State trying to mount a comeback here in the 4th. Time now for our State Farm State of Success. And look at the win streak for Nebraska. 8 consecutive wins, their longest win streak since 2012. Penn State has a 33-match win streak, so a little bit different there, but Nebraska having that best start since 2011. Huskers really 4 points away from being undefeated. They lost in 5 sets to Texas on the road, potentially on their way to another 5-setter. Penn State just played a 5-setter on Saturday against Minnesota, which they won. So these 2 teams could be vying at the top of those Big Ten standings throughout the entire year.
Yeah, and that's what we've come to know about these 2 programs. Got great athletes. They're coached so well. Scouting reports. These kids know what to expect from their opponent. And so we typically see them competing well in the Big Ten and being tournament ready at the end of the season.
We talked earlier about this Penn State team having the big departures with Micah Hancock being gone, Dominique Gonzalez, Nia Grant, Lacey Fuller. Talked to Russ Rose last week, and he said one of the things he misses about Micah Hancock, everyone thinks it's going to be the serve that he misses. It's the competitiveness that she brought to this Penn State program. And they could count on her to bring that competitiveness on the floor in a match like this. And right now, it's Megan Courtney trying to fill that role, but she can't do it all for Penn State.
Yeah, Micah Hancock was a tough cookie, and I'll tell you what, she had a look, and she would look at her players, and you just knew that you better perform for her. It was her team, her court. She got them going.
Courtney trying to get that look just a moment ago to her teammates. There is Courtney Recovers after that one came off the block. Second chance for her, and she's stuffed. Nebraska knows the ball's going to Courtney, and they're waiting on it.
Yeah, when you're at a system like that, it would be nice to have somebody on the right side to go to. So even though Megan Courtney is a fantastic hitter, take some pressure off of her in that situation. Put the ball to Washington on a slide.
Becky to serve. Penn State not getting the good first contact again. This will be a free ball for Nebraska. Ralston. Huskers 3 points away. They have owned the last 2 sets and look to be on their way to the 5th.
Oh, what a great set there by Hunter. Pushing the ball to the pin. Fast offense. Boy, this Nebraska team, it doesn't even resemble the team that stepped out on the court in the first set. So John Cook pleased with how his team has progressed and gotten better here as the match has gone on.
And remember, immediately following this match, Big Ten close-up, the all-access look into the 2 programs between Wisconsin and Penn State, building up to the Big Ten opener at Rec Hall last week. You see a truly unique look at these 2 programs and how they train, how they prepare, and play in one of the biggest matches of the year. Big Ten close-up immediately following our match. Saw the discussions with Selima Rockwell and her setter. Looks like after this match there's going to be a few more discussions, a lot more time in the film room, because Weiskircher has not been on the same page with her hitters, and Penn State really struggling in the first contact like we talked about, but it's early in the year. The teams that we're seeing now, that we've seen in the non-conference portion of the schedule, are going to be so different by the end of the year. And we've seen it be so different within this match. Nebraska, as you said, Audrey, so different in the first 2 than the way they've played now, and the same with Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State on serve receive is, there's a number of targets that Nebraska's servers can go to. Franti struggling a little bit, Holcomb struggling a little bit. So, that makes your job as a blocker defensive team a lot easier when that contact's not going up to the setter. So we'll see how these players respond. Franti is in the backcourt. I would imagine the ball's going to be served to her, forcing her to move. So we'll see if she responds well and if she's able to pass a perfect ball up to her setter.
Penn State just 6 kills in this 3rd set, 6 errors, hitting 0, in the 4th set. Struggles continuing, but Haley Washington terminates.
Well, that was a big swing and a critical point there for Penn State. It's a momentum changer. Anytime Washington gets the ball, she comes down, she cheers, and really gets her team pumped up. So nice swing there to shift momentum Penn State's way.
Laney Pierce back in to serve. 11 aces for her last season. Penn State would love one right now. That's a service there and puts Nebraska even closer.
I love the communication on Nebraska's side of the net. That ball is supposed to force the passer back and try to decide whether or not to play it. So the other passers that are not playing the ball clearly and loudly call the ball out as they're moving to the end line. So that's great communication on Nebraska's side of the net.
23-17. Nebraska look to be on our way to another 5th set between these 2 iconic programs. Washington the off speed, and Nebraska's not going to get that over.
Well, the ball was served to Megan Courtney. You could see beautiful contact on that ball, and they're in system. They get a point. That's what Penn State needs to continue to do if they want to capture this 4th set.
Serve from Washington, gets Hunter on the move. But Fiend puts it away, set point for the Huskers.
Wow, Fiend just waits on the ball. That ball was bump set super high. She waits, delays, and then goes in fast and hits a serious cross-court shot.
5 kills now for Kelsey Fiend. Weiskircher sets Whitney. Diana Whitney, great match for her with 13 kills, but Penn State hasn't found her enough.
Yeah, they got to get the ball to her. That's the go-to right there. You saw Cook putting up his finger, number 1, that's right back. So clearly they're picking on Franti and serve receive.
Katie Ralston, and the air by Ralston, so Penn State back within 4, but still a long way to go here in the 4th set for Penn State to pull off a comeback. Third set point for Nebraska. Weiskircher to serve. Comes back over for the Huskers. Good chance here, but the bump set. And it's Ralston who goes off of the block. That'll do it for the 4th set. Nebraska fights their way back and forces a decisive 5th when we return here at Rec Hall. Number 1 and number 4 going to the 5th set to decide this one in Happy Valley. Back-to-back 5-set matches for them. They played Minnesota in 5 sets on Saturday. Huskers won 1 in 5-setters, losing to Texas. And we're underway in the 5th, a race to 15 in a top 5 battle. Penn State, the first kill to Whitney.
Well, it's a race to 15, as you said, so it's a serve-pass game from here. You've got to be able to pass and stay in system, quick side-outs, and your side-out percentage has got to be high. So we'll see which team can put pressure from the end line the best, and that will probably be the team that wins this 5th.
It's been Nebraska in the last 2 sets doing a better job from the end line. Holcomb can't dig that ball on her side, and that goes off the block to the point for the Huskers.
You know, what's been interesting is neither team showing complete dominance. They're playing inconsistent, so there's room for improvement on both sides of the net. But I'll tell you what, if I'm a coach in the Big Ten and I watch this match, I tell my team, hey, these teams are beatable. There are areas of weakness on both sides of the net. So this powerhouse Penn State team and this powerhouse Nebraska team, boy, there's a good scouting report that you can have to try and get a win from these teams when they come to your place.
It's one of those years where there may not be a dominant single program in the Big Ten or even nationally. Could be a very wide open year. Hunter sets Fecky. That's long. So mistake there from Fecky and a 3-1 lead for Penn State in the 5th.
This is where you want to eliminate or minimize your unforced errors. You want the opposing team to work hard for their points, so you got to keep the ball in play, hit shots, execute, and do your little job on the court.
Rouse serving Penn State. She served a run earlier in the match. Franti gets to that one. Good chance here, though, for the Huskers. Fecky. Holcomb the dig. Courtney and a net violation that goes against Nebraska. Another error.
Yeah, these errors will come back to haunt Nebraska. They've got to make sure that they're playing clean volleyball. Let's take a look at what hits the net, and you can see it's the hand of the right side blocker for Nebraska. That was clear to see.
Penn State off to the good start in the 5th with the 4-1 lead on Nebraska. 4-1 start, but 3 of those points coming on Nebraska errors. Hunter. Bump set, Fecky, and the block. Weiskircher and Washington.
Penn State doing what they do so well, sealing the net and forcing Nebraska to make a shot here. Take a look, the ball is set inside. Penn State's block lines up perfectly. It's a tough shot.
Give credit to Taylor Krause, tough serve from her. Holcomb can't get to it, and a side out, much needed for Nebraska.
Yeah, that was a huge swing and side out for Nebraska to stay within 3 here. They need to serve tough, and we'll see if we get a signal from John Cook as to where Justine should be serving the ball.
Appears that Nebraska's going to go after Franti again. It's Holcomb there, though. Courtney had to stop, just roll it over the net. And Weiskircher can't get to it, so back-to-back points for the Huskers. Nebraska outplayed Penn State in all facets in the last 2 sets, and it's their own mistakes here in the 5th that has gotten them behind. We will switch sides halfway through this 5th set.
Zone 4 is short, low front.
Results in a joust. That's won by the Huskers.
Right, so why did he call that zone? He wanted Haley Washington to pass the ball. She's not a primary passer. You can see that she passes the ball over the net. That results in an easy point for Nebraska. So great coaching move there by John Cook.
Washington can't put a good swing on that ball. Katie Ralston off the block, and we're tied.
And you can see why serving can get you back into a set. So they are stuck in this rotation, Penn State is. Nebraska doing a good job of serving targets. You see zone 4 again. That's short in the left front area of the court.
Courtney will take it. It's a good pass, and Washington, you see how the pass starts everything if you can get off the good pass.
That's right. So Courtney doing a good job of calling off Haley Washington, being aggressive to come in. Take a look at it again. She calls her off, takes the ball. She's got great ball control, as we've already mentioned about Megan Courtney. That frees up Washington to run her route.
Becky again off the block.
Well, this is a great one. We anticipated it going 5 sets, going back and forth, and this is what we're used to seeing from these two teams. It's a great battle.
Saw that stat earlier of Nebraska having won 3 of the last 4 against the #1 team, but they have not done that on the road. This would be the first win over #1 on the road, if they could pull it off. Hunter looking for the dump, but Washington puts it away.
Well, not a bad idea, but what Hunter did is she showed that she was going to attack it too early. And if you're going to attack the ball and you've got a blocker like Haley Washington on the other side of the net, you better dump angles, not right in front of you, because she's right there to gobble that one up.
Fecky once more. Penn State cannot handle the attack of Michaela Fecky.
Yeah. This young lady is so effective. Look at that approach. And the thing that I like about her is she shows no fear. She goes up and she is confident in her skills and she wants the ball. That's what you want from your left side attack.
22 kills now for Fecky. Let's take those to Whitney. Fiend, that one I believe didn't make it over the net. They're going to say there was a touch off Penn State's block, so play continues on the rally. Pivotal rally here. Fiend off the block and down.
Well, this is such a close one, and we'll see if Nebraska can maintain their composure here. It's a tight situation, and this is where you really get to see what players are made out of. Are they going to be aggressive? That is a touch right there. Are they going to be aggressive and take swings? Let's watch this one right here. Big swing on the outside for Nebraska. Results in a huge point.
8-7 at the switch. The two teams will switch sides here in the 5th. Nebraska and Penn State trying to stay unbeaten in Big Ten play early in the year. A great one going down between these two top 5 teams. Whitney, the big swing. Elsie Fiend to the back corner.
Wow, Fiend is really coming through big time for her team in this critical portion of the 5th set. You gotta want the ball first of all, and then you've got to believe that you can swing to win. And Fiend's got all the confidence in the world tonight. Nice jump set there by Hunter. Look at how explosive she is, how her hitting point is so high above the block. So great contact.
Penn State and Nebraska, one of these two teams will remain in a first-place tie with Purdue. The other will have to answer some questions. Right now, though, this has been Nebraska's match ever since the intermission. Nebraska's played better. They've had better distribution from Kelly Hunter. She's turned around her play, and they're seeing that they have players like Kelsey Fiend, Michaela Fecky, who can take over a match, and really they can count on those go-to players, and that's been key for them.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you what, they are a completely different looking team, and Coach Cook has got to like the way they were able to turn things around. Now, Penn State, very well coached. I know that Russ Rose is going to be in their players' ears right now, but look at how calm he is. I'm sure he's delivering some advice, shall we say, and I think that these girls are going to come out and compete hard, but you've got to execute, and what that comes down to, as we've already mentioned, is that first contact, that pass. If they can be in system, Penn State certainly does have the swings that will get the job done. So we'll see what the serve looks like from Nebraska. If they can maintain velocity on the ball, put some pressure on Penn State. And this is a good one.
Penn State, the unblemished record to this point, 13-0. Nittany Lions have not lost a match since October 11th in this building to Illinois. 33-match streak on the line. And Penn State does not lose in rec hall. They have 3 home losses in the Big Ten Conference in the last 10 years. So Nebraska trying to pull off something that does not happen often in this building. Whitney is blocked.
You can see Nebraska's block. They're waiting for the attack. They know exactly where the ball is going, and they line up perfectly. Right side blocker moving in, middle blocker closing up, and it looks picture perfect on Nebraska's side of the net.
10-7 Nebraska. Not a good first contact again. Great opportunity for the Huskers. Out of play, the setter for Nebraska, Hunter, on her attack. She's had a number of kills throughout this year, but was that the time to set up your setter for an attack?
Well, you know what, it's a broken play, so yeah, she can swing at the ball. I would have liked to have seen a more aggressive swing. She was going for placement. That ball was pretty close to landing in.
10-8 lead for Nebraska. Weiskircher creates the overpass. They're going to say that it was an inadvertent whistle, so they have to replay the point. And Penn State not happy because that came off an overpass, could have been their point.
Yep, the ref blew the whistle too quickly and decided we're going to replay this one.
This time Nebraska in system, and it's a point. So that inadvertent whistle could come back to haunt Penn State.
Kelsey Fee, number 14, outside hitter for Penn State, has been key on serve receive, getting swings and having quick side outs. That's all because of her hammer of an arm.
See the overall record for Penn State in rec hall, 33 losses, 7 losses in this building in the last 10 years. However, we mentioned that there's been 3 Big Ten home losses in the last 10 years for Penn State. They have come in 3 of the last 4 years, though. Illinois has had success here on the road, winning in 2011 and last season. And Michigan State starting the 2013 season with a win in rec hall. So this is not a building where it's impossible to win, but very difficult. Nebraska now in their 5th meeting with Penn State in rec hall, trying to get their first win since 1993.
Well, it does appear like times might be changing here. Nebraska could be walking away with a win, and I'll tell you what, I think the setter for Nebraska has done a superb job. Kelly Hunter has gotten better as the match has gone on, and she's learned and adjusted as the match has gone on, and sometimes that's the best way to learn. On the court, as the game's going on, can you make adjustments? That's exactly what she's shown tonight.
See the winning percentage against Penn State. Only 2 teams with a winning percentage that is above 500 against the Nittany Lions. Nebraska and UCLA. The Huskers started off well, beat Penn State in their first Big Ten match back in the NU Coliseum. And this is a program that has challenged Penn State over the years. They have confidence, especially coming out here with the lead. Sydney Townsend, the sophomore from Lincoln, to serve. Weiskircher setting Whitney. Back to Kelsey Fee. Courtney out of the back row. Free ball chance really for Penn State, but it's Courtney who will back set to Lee. She gets the touch. And back to a 2-point 5th set.
Now that's a huge point for Penn State. My goodness, what a great swing on the outside. That ball was hard and it was deep, and you could see Nebraska's defense was trying to take a stab at it to keep it in play, but critical point there for Penn State.
Every point critical and magnified down the stretch here. We played a 15 in the fifth. Fein has been on fire for the Huskers.
Nice tempo set. The ball is passed perfectly. Take a look at this swing. Hitting right over top of number 22 for Penn State. That's Simone Lee on the right side.
Huskers tries to run off the net on the floor. First contact in the block. Nebraska 2 points away from taking down number 1.
Well, Nebraska's serving really tough again. They're picking on Penn State's libero. We'll see where the zone is being called. I would imagine he's going to just keep putting the pressure on Keaton Holcomb for Penn State. See if she'll rise to the occasion. Zone 1, that's right where Keaton Holcomb is standing.
And it's a service error. See if Penn State can string together a few points here down the stretch. It will be Holcomb who will serve for the Nittany Lions. So early in the season, but this match, Big Ten title implications for both teams. With the unbalanced schedule, you have to get wins against opponents in the top 3 and 4 of the conference when you can get them. Otherwise, at the end of the year, you may have a tough time making up ground in the Big Ten standings.
You're absolutely right, and this is a huge side-out play for Nebraska. They can get a side-out here. Boy, it's going to be tough for Penn State.
Penn State subs in Lainey Pierce, the sophomore from Eden, New York, to serve. Hunter. Over the net. Weiskircher sets Megan Courtney. In the back row again is Wong-Arantes. Katie Ralston into the block. Another chance for her, and that's off the block and out of play. It is match point for the Cornhuskers.
Boy, I'm not sure what has happened here, but Nebraska has come back and they are playing perfect volleyball, and they're playing to win. And you could see there in the background Cook standing up, double fist pump. He is excited about how his team is performing.
Match point for the Huskers. Megan Courtney doesn't want to see this one end, and she keeps Penn State in it.
A thunderous hit keeps this match going on. Megan Courtney not ready to say goodnight. Wow, we'll see what they can do here down.
And Penn State come back after being down 14-10. Taylor Kraus will serve. Ralston, that'll do it. The Huskers upset number 1 Penn State and come all the way back from down 0-2. That does it for Penn State's 33-match win streak. Nebraska extends their own to 9 matches, and they remain undefeated in the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, Nebraska, wow, what a stellar performance, especially their outside hitters. Oftentimes, as you see right there, it comes down to a final swing from the left side. Deep cross court, perfectly executed there. It's good to see Katie get the game-winning swing on that one since she struggled early on. So hats off to the All-American Katie Ralston for working her way back into this one and getting the winning point for her team.
Nebraska's first ever win on the road over a number 1 team, and the Huskers' first win here at Rec Hall since 1993. And add another first to it, the first victory for the Huskers as a member of the Big Ten Conference in Rec Hall against Penn State, as they end the unbeaten streak for the Nittany Lions, and Nebraska tied atop the standings in the Big Ten Conference as they win it.